Buckeyes, this is your place to be. I talk Ohio State, primarily football, but anything, everything Buckeye related, I try to touch upon. So this is a Buckeye station. So if you like Buckeye talk in general, please hit the like button. If you're feeling what you're hearing, please subscribe. Help this brother build this up and get this thing started. So with that said, we just want to jump right into it. The CFP Rankings came out earlier this week, and I think no surprises there after the way Saturday played out. Buckeyes clocked in at number 2. Totally expected, in my opinion, totally expected. I think the whole top 4 was pretty standard. Maybe been one of the more boring rankings, one of the more boring rankings in the whole CFP area, because you only got the there are only 4 undefeated teams left, and those are the top 4 teams. I don't think the order was really in any question. We knew Georgia, Tennessee winner was going to be number 1. I always felt, regardless, as long as Ohio State won, they were going to be number 2. Getting way at the end of the day on Saturday, the way it played out, based on the previous week rankings, New Michigan was going to be number 3, and they moved TCU up to number 4. How could they not? Last 4 undefeated teams. Tennessee looked bad. There's no way you could even justify trying to keep Tennessee in front of TCU. So I think the rankings played out the way it should have for once. I think the top 6, I pretty much called the top 6. So go check out my post Northwestern Ohio State analysis. I called the top 6. I had Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee, and Oregon. And I think it's easy to justify keeping Tennessee at 5 and Oregon at 6. Their only losses was to Georgia, and Tennessee kept the game closer. We know Oregon got blown out in week 1. I don't think now they might actually be the better team, but it is what it is. Tennessee's 5, Oregon 6. I called it. So yeah, check out my previous analysis on the Ohio State Northwestern game. I break a lot of stuff down there. But the rankings are what I thought they were going to be, and I predicted it. And then just the rankings in general, I think there are no big surprises there. And pretty straightforward. I still think they have Clemson too high. They're not giving enough respect to me to some of the Pac-12 schools, in particular Utah and UCLA, but they still got Clemson up there. But Clemson's done. I don't see no logical path. Excuse me. No logical path for Clemson to make the playoffs. The ACC's not all of that, and the rankings came out the way I thought they were going to come out. The only question, I guess, immediately following the game, granted, immediately following the Ohio State Northwestern game, that people are saying Ohio State's going to drop in the polls. They're going to drop because that's just a bad thing. I was never in that camp. I just had a feeling as long as Ohio State got out of there for a win, they're going to remain number 2, regardless of how the rest of the day played out. And as the rest of the day played out, I think some of those thought processes about Ohio State dropping sort of faded somewhat. But I was never in that camp, basically because of what the committee said during how they came up with the week 1 rankings. And after Saturday was all said and done, after the dust was settled, the only team that realistically could have leapfrogged Ohio State was Michigan. But understanding how the committee slotted the folks, there's no way that was going to happen because Michigan's non-conference schedule is pathetic. It's a joke. And then top of that, on the way Notre Dame performed against Clemson, the way Notre Dame has performed against Syracuse. I don't know if you want to just completely wipe out the Marshall and Stanford games, which they lost, but the last few weeks, Notre Dame has been looking good. And oh, look who beat Notre Dame. So we can hang our hat on that Notre Dame win. That's looking better and better at the particularly if Notre Dame can continue to win out, that just makes Ohio State's position at number two that more solid to me. It's more solidified based on how Notre Dame performs the rest of the year, and that's always going to be our trump card over Michigan. Of course, it's going to play itself out anyway. They're going to be playing each other in a few weeks. So, but for now, as long as they win out, I don't see Ohio State dropping past number two regardless. They even have a slight. No, I ain't gonna jump that far ahead. Let's worry about Indiana. Let's look good to get Indiana, and we'll worry about the rest of the season. But rankings, I'm not surprised about the rankings. And then again, the way the rest of the day played out, not surprised. I do think there's some of the angst there because I don't think people took the weather into consideration seriously enough. I thought the weather played a vital part again. I'm not going to go down the weather rabbit hole. I touched upon it a lot more detail. I'm pumping my previous video or my previous post. You can go check out that analysis. But I break down why I thought the weather made a difference even in the running game. So please check that out. Of course, hit me up in the comments to tell me what you thought about the weather and all that stuff as things played out. And then just another interesting stat that I saw that just shows you how Ohio State has looked this year compared to other teams. Because we always want to go off how they look off the most recent showing, and they didn't look good against Northwestern, and I chronicled that in my previous thing, and for a good portion of the game did not look good against Penn State. But when you break down what they've done this year, because I was reading here, I saw here, they're the only team that has won every game by double digits. The only team that has won every game by double digits. Nobody else can say that. To me, that shows a level of dominance that no one else has been able to do this year, regardless of opponent. They're the only team that has won by double digits every year. Georgia can't say that. Michigan can't say that. TCU can't say that. None of they've all. Ohio State's the only team that, quite honestly, has not been in danger of losing this year. Their games have been pretty much over within, midway through the fourth quarter. You pretty much knew Ohio State was going to win the game. You can't say that with Georgia. For all intents and purposes, Missouri runs a different play on that last game. Missouri beats Georgia. Maryland had Michigan. They could have easily won that game. TCU, they've been behind every game this year. They're always doing these fourth quarter comebacks. So Ohio State is the only team that has not been in danger of losing this year. They haven't been in danger of losing this year. So as long as they keep that going, no other team can make that boast. To me, they have been dominant. They've done what they needed to do to win and put themselves in the number two position. Because I think clearly, I think Georgia has sort of separated themselves a little bit, and Ohio State's right there. If they can get some things worked out, I still think those are still the top two teams. But a good thing that came out from following that game, the conference immediately following the game was Ohio State's going to drop, and C.J. Stroud just lost the Heisman. And it was easy to feel that way, in particular against Stroud losing, may have got bumped down in the Heisman rankings or whatnot. It was easy to say that immediately following that game. Again, I was not in that camp because if you can't throw the ball because of the elements, the numbers aren't going to look good throwing the ball. I don't think it was a fair assessment of how Stroud played in terms of throwing the ball. You got to look at the totality of what he did. And when you factor in his runs, yes, his runs, he ran the ball. When you factor all that in, which I don't think he got enough credit for following the game, I still don't think he's getting credit for it because of Bryce Young had did what he did in that game, but he had the 44-yard run of Bryce. That would have been Bryce Young. That would have been Hooker. They would have gotten all types of accolades. Seemed like it got downplayed nationally wise about Stroud running the ball. But the Buckeye folks in my camp who've been wanting him to do something like that, we recognize what he did and how important it was for that game because to me, especially the way the rest of the day played out, I thought it was almost Heisman worthy. I mean, he led his team at one point. He was leading the team in rushing yards. Again, in your wildest imagination, did you ever think you would say C.J. Stroud leading the team in rushing yards in the same sentence? But he was leading the team in rushing yards, and there was a big run, but that's part of the game. You can't. Well, if it wasn't for the big run, it was because of that big run. He set up 2 touchdowns. He set up 2 touchdowns because he used his legs. He didn't commit any turnovers. He took the team on his back. To me, that was Heisman worthy, and as the rest of the day played out, not only did I think he didn't hurt his chances, I think my brother may have enhanced his chances of winning the Heisman. Because he took the team on his back. Until, mine ended up having he ended up breaking 100 yards and broke 200 yards as a team. But C.J. Stroud, he took the team on his back. That was the most quarterback stuff he's done outside. So we know he can throw the ball, but to me, I wanted to see some of the grit, some of the toughness. I wanted to see him run the ball, do some stuff with his legs, because I've mentioned in previous postings, at some point he was going to have to win the game with his legs. He was going to have to win using his legs. He's not going to be able to just throw the ball. This time it was the elements, but some teams are going to make it extremely difficult for him to throw the ball. So him running it, taking it upon himself to run it, designed run or not, I know the 44-yard run, that was designed. So, like I said, they totally faked with Northwestern out. They were not prepared for that at all. But some of the runs, he took the ball down and he ran it. He ran it. Not all the runs were designed. You noticed that. He ran. So hats off to C.J. Stroud. To me, that was the best. Given the circumstances and the elements, that dude, he played like how you want your quarterback to play. He gutted it out. He gritted it out. And because of that, to me, I thought he enhanced the Heisman chances. And even after they played out, I thought, again, I said, this dude ain't the Heisman favorite again. There's something wrong because Hooker, Hendon Hooker looked terrible. He did. I don't care if it was Georgia. He looked terrible. Tennessee in general looked terrible. Not at any point in that game that you ever thought they were going to be a threat to Georgia. And that the Georgia defense made him look pedestrian. Bryce Young looked terrible. Now, he looked terrible. You can say he had the yards passing, but look how he was under 50% and 50% completion percentage for the game. He threw over 50-some passes. I think he only threw, 24, 25? And of course, the defense was terrible. But Bryson, he did not look good. He had the one play. I'll give him that. That's what he's good. He's good at that. He can scramble around, create opportunities, and if his receiver got open, he took the ball on the money. So I'll give him that. And people try to hype him up for that. Oh, that's the Bryce Young. That's why he won the Heisman. Yeah, but for the good portion of that game, Bryce Young did not look good. He was uncomfortable. He didn't look good. He had that moment. I'll give him that. But other than that, what did he do? He had a terrible game for completion percentage-wise. So to me, following Saturday evening, I like Stroud right there. He didn't do anything. If anything, the young man may have bettered his Heisman odds. And I think it played out because some of the headlines are following, some of the headlines this week is, he's the favorite again. And I think he should be. He should very well be the favorite. And if he wins out, how are you going to keep him from winning the Heisman? If he wins out, if he looks good doing it, he ain't got to be Superman spectacular. Just don't commit any turnovers, keep the team on point, keep the team in front of the chain, look good, don't force anything. use your newfound skill of running. Everybody that's always been there, you just never wanted to do it. But use your opportunity to get 3, 4 yards, to move the chain. If he does that the rest of the year and looks good against Michigan, how there's no way he should not win the Heisman this year. I don't care what anyone else does the rest of the year. If he goes undefeated, beats Michigan, incorporate some more runs into the game, get some change, move the chains, get some first downs, extend some drives. If he just does that the rest of the year, I think he should win the Heisman. Not going away, but he should be comfortably in the league for the Heisman. His numbers, and people want to start throwing up some of these other guys. I know they're trying to pump Drake May now. They're trying to pump the guy, the Oregon quarterback. But for the outside of the last few weeks, right? I mean, C.J. Stroud hasn't played the good portions of the fourth quarter. So, of course, the numbers are going to be either equal to him or slightly better than his because they're forced to play the full games where C.J. Stroud gets to sit. So you can't always go by the numbers because they're going to have better numbers because he's not playing the portions of the game because Ohio State has such a comfortable lead. There's no point in playing. But if he doesn't, if we win out, Ohio State wins out, look good against Michigan, don't have any turnovers, C.J. Stroud should win the Heisman in my opinion. Okay, so looking forward, still number 2. Indiana coming up. Again, not a very good team. My quick take on that one is we should win comfortably. I don't know if we're going to cover the 30. I believe it's still at 38 points. To me, the spread, you don't have to cover the spread as long as you look good or dominant in the way you play the game. If the offenses look good, if they can get the running game going. Hopefully we have Henderson and Williams back. We can get the offensive going and just look the part. Because it's all style point. It was hard to look the part last week against Northwestern. You got to at least look the part against Indiana, and we should dominate the game. We may not cover the spread, but as long as we dominate the game and look the part of a number 2 team, I think that'll silence a lot of the critics following the Northwestern game who don't want to take into account the weather because I don't know. I haven't seen the weather report. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. But the conditions are decent. They need to be able to establish the run a bit better. So hopefully, you've seen what Jim Knowles has done. It's time to see what the new Justin Fry. I see the offensive line develop some and be able to open some holes again along the running line and give Williams and Henderson some holes and make the running game. The running game should be better. I mean, take away the Iowa game, hardly no one. Iowa's defense is just on another level. They're just offense tough. Penn State always plays us tough. Northwestern game, I just credit some of that to the weather and the game plan Fitzgerald put in. So, not to give them a bye or a pass, but the running game needs to start to show something moving forward. Indiana should be a good elixir for that. Get the running game going, at least look the part that your offense is more complete and it's not can't be so one-dimensional in terms of the run pass variation. So look good against Indiana and think one game at a time from this point forward. Defense has been on point. And again, I break down the defensive rankings in the previous thing. Our defense is on point. Jim Knowles has come in and he's done his job. And he says we're still not where we want to be, which is scary. Because they're in the top 10, top 15 nationally in several of the defensive categories. So again, how some folks are complaining about the defense is beyond me, but I'll take this version of Ohio State's defense over the last previous years any time of the day. Again, that Northwestern game with this last year's team, it could have been that could have been a scary outcome. But this defense, this defense is good. It has vastly improved. I love the job that Jim Knowles has done. So again, as long as they keep playing out, the more people keep stepping up, we should be fine moving forward. So I'm happy with what Jim Knowles has done in the Indiana game. Again, we should get back to looking the part. And I know Ryan Day says he's not all about the style points, and it is about the winning. And in this case, it might be true because he saw Michigan, Ohio State, that's going to settle itself on the field. Um, and the loser at the game most likely is going to miss the playoffs. I can't see a scenario where even the loser of the Big Ten of that game will make the playoffs. It's going to be hard pressed, but because you got to look good. Sometimes style points matter, so they got to look good against Indiana, and I believe they do. I believe they will. So that is my rundown on the football stuff. And like I mentioned, so if you like any of that, please check my previous postings from my previous videos. If you have any comments on that, please like it. Please light me up. If you like what you're feeling, what you're hearing, please subscribe. I'm trying to build this thing up and do this. I love my Buckeyes and talk Buckeyes. Primarily football, but I try to touch on all the other different sports going on around. And I try to keep it in my, keep it in my periphery and see what's going on. We're going to pivot just a little bit here and talk about some of the b-ball stuff. Basketball some kicks off. And it was not been, so we'll start with the ladies. If you saw some of my, I keep talking about my previous stuff, so I want y'all to go back and look at it. I want y'all to go back and look at it. So, but I've been a big fan of the women's basketball team going back into March Madness. I've been down on Taylor McDuff, but you got the team playing, and hasn't been a good past few days for Tennessee, and the football team got beat badly, and our Lady Buckeyes beat up on the Lady Vols. It was a showdown in Columbus. Tennessee came in ranked number 5. Our Lady Buckeyes came in number 14. Too low, depending. You see what we got coming back. If you've been following them, that ranking's too low. And I think it shows how good our ladies team is. So if you ain't in the women's basketball, you haven't checked out the team yet, if you got a chance to go back and watch that game, go back and watch that game because our ladies put a beat down on the Lady Vols. I said the number 5 team, the Lady Vols are the number 5 team coming in. And talk about not looking like your ranking. You want to just see one quarter of a women's basketball. You ain't got a lot of time. You want to watch one quarter of a women's basketball game. Watch that third quarter between Ohio State, our Lady Buckeyes, and Tennessee. They could not get the ball over half court. They literally could not get the ball over half. They had 30 turnovers for the whole game, but that third quarter, our ladies put them on lock down. Either they were turning the ball over, just throwing it away, or I never seen so many 10-second violations in my life. I must have like 2, 3, 4 in a row. But go look at that thing about and check out our Lady Buckeyes. They're going to be a really good team this year. It's going to be fun to watch. They wanted one of the freshmen on the team. She's the highest ranked recruit in the conference. His top ranked recruit coming into the conference this year, Cody McMahon. He had a great game. I think he's a true freshman. He played on the national under-18 team. So he got it rolling. I've had my doubts about McDuff, but he got it rolling. This is a potential Final Four quality team, caliber team. J.C. Sheldon, Taylor, Mike Sell. We got shooters. We got size. We got speed, defense, offense. This is a very good team. So check them out. If you ain't basketball fans, Buckeye fans, go check out the Lady Buckeyes. That's a good team to watch. A good team to be watching and supporting this year. And not to be outdone, Chris Holtman. Last year, his 2022 class was top 10. His 2023 class was just signed. They're top 5 nationally. So again, our basketball, I always thought we should be one of the better combo football, basketball schools, period. We got the resources, we got too much not to be one of the top combo football, basketball schools, period. But Chris Fulton's bringing in this consecutive top 10 class. It's like this last one ranked number 5. So they're not ranked right now. So we'll see how the season plays out for him. They got some pieces back. I mean, just Sassoon is back, and it's good to see him healthy. So we'll see how the year plays out. But the basketball season has started, so we got some good teams. I think we got a good shot, especially in particular our ladies. If they don't win it outright, they're going to be right there challenging for the conference and the men's team. We'll see how it plays out. They got a lot of new faces. No Eagle Idell, no Malachi Branham, but he got a good core coming back. So we'll see how that plays out. And then while we're shouting out some of our other teams, our women's hockey team is doing good. Our women's volleyball team's ranked. I think they're both top 5. So we got a lot of good stuff going on right now across the board in Buckeye land. So again, now if you're hunkering down, waiting to see what this Indiana game, how this Indiana game plays out. Hopefully they are looking better. I'm anticipating they're looking better. Hopefully they've done some tweaks or whatnot along the offensive line to get the running game up and going. And hopefully Stroud can, throughout the weather will allow him to do what he likes to do. He don't like to run, but even though he's proven he can do it. But hopefully he can start throwing the ball around. And we'll see. If him throwing around, we'll see what's going to happen with, like I said, try to get some of our running backs healthy. And like one's always mixed up, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Is he going to be healthy? If he ain't healthy now, I don't know what you guys' thoughts or comments on. Should he go the Bosa route and just say, what, I'm done? I didn't imagine the hamstring keeping him out this long, but hamstrings, they are tricky. They are tricky. And maybe he tried to come back too soon against Wisconsin, and you can't mess with hamstrings. So he's not 100%. I don't know how much you want to try to incorporate him back into the game. You might just let the young man call it a day, call it a season, and let him get ready for the combine, all of what Bosa did, and just say, you know what, thanks but no thanks, I'm going to shut it down. Or if you are going to try to bring him back before the year is out, to where he's a key contributor, then this is the game to do it. You got to try to work him in some, if he's healthy enough, work him in some in this Indiana game and see how we can go. So it'll do a 5-yard out, and a little stop and go. The bubble screen. I got tired of those bubble screens against State, but do a bubble screen and just see. Don't run them down the field yet where you might overextend yourself and snap something. Just work them back in slowly. If you can't work them back in slowly this week, I mean, do you really want to see him try to get work back in? You know, that's a tough call. That's a tough call. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see how healthy it is, how healthy he is to go. We'll see how healthy the running backs are. It's like every time one gets played, he's dinged up the next week. So who knows? It might be Henderson's turn, and Mayan will sit out. So we'll see how that situation goes there. And then if they both hurt, you know, we'll run Stroud. No. We'll see how that plays out. But again, this is I love the Buckeyes. Trying to build it up, trying to build this up. So join me on my journey. Like so, if you like what you're hearing, hit that like button. If you're really feeling what you're hearing, please subscribe and help me grow this. I'm for the people. I like taking in what people are talking about and taking it here and putting my spin on it, putting my 2 cents on it. A lot of times the national media, they ain't down in the grassroots what the fans are talking about. So I'm trying to get to the grassroots of what the fans are talking about. So if you're liking that and feeling that and be a part of that, please like, please subscribe. And until next time, thank you for taking me out this time, sitting down and spending some of your time learning about some of the Buckeyes and how I feel about our Buckeyes moving forward, and get ready for this Indiana game, and we will touch base with you guys following that.